there's no right or no rationale to capture any innocent civilians from both parties. But again,
no, there is, and you consider the Palestinians that are prisoners innocent, but they're not innocent. They either have affiliation to terrorists or are terrorists themselves, or tried to kill innocent Jews, and they were put in prison because of it. So it's not the same. Ya haywan, it's not the same. How you guys doing? This is official Sahar TV coming to you live with another great video. In today's video, I want you to take a good look at how the Hamas spokesperson simply justifies violence against innocent people. Before we get to the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support me financially, you can do so through the links below of Buy Me Coffee or Patreon. Let's watch the video.
I'm talking about the innocent people who were killed, and I'm talking about the innocent people who were held hostage. I'm not talking about soldiers. And I'm interested, actually, because you can't defend it. You're not even trying to defend it.
Okay, again, I said it. No one, there's no right or no rationale to capture any innocent civilians from both parties. But again, we have offered a hand for peace and settlement of this conversation for 30 years. What is the response? More killing of our people, more annexation of our land, more humiliation of our holy places, and we have no choice than to fight back.
Now,
they don't actually care about their land. If you don't know, today is, I don't know when this video is going to be released, but today is Independence Day. And how did the Palestinians treat Independence Day? They set the country on fire. Why? Because they don't care about their land. They're not connected to the land in any way. All they care about is running the Jews away, making the Jews run away. They're hypocrites. They're liars.
59 people who were taken hostage by Hamas who are still being held in Gaza, although how many are alive is not clear. The hope is that they might be released, or their bodies might be released as part of an extension of a truce which ended on March the 1st. But that does seem a long way off, with the US saying that Hamas is making entirely impractical demands at meetings in Qatar. And without a truce, the situation is grim. UNICEF say that 1 million children are struggling to survive, with hundreds of thousands lacking clean water and sanitation. Well, Dr. Bassem Naim is a senior Hamas official and joins us on the line now. Good morning.
Good morning.
What is the cause of the current delay in agreeing a ceasefire deal?
Unfortunately, we have already signed a ceasefire deal on January 17th. This deal is composed of 3 phases. Phase 1, 42 days, which ended on March 1st. And then we have to be engaged in the negotiations of the second phase at the day 16 of the first phase. Unfortunately, the Israelis, they have refused until now to go for the negotiations of the second phase. And they have, unfortunately, sabotaged the deal, which has been signed again in January under the auspices of the 3 mediators, the Qataris, the Egyptians, and the United States, and they are now seeking for the negotiations of a new deal under totally different conditions. And I think we have said it many times, we are committed to the deal we have signed. We have already fulfilled our obligations.
Does the deal allow you to parade the released hostages on stages and forcing them to kiss you on the forehead as they are released? That's what it says. That's not breaking the deal or breaching the contract between you and Israel. That's a complete lie. And I think that the moment we have a deal that Hamas remains in power, that's a deal not worth signing, because my family will be next and your family will be next, because they plan to do I wanted to say 9/11. They plan to do October 7th every single year.
Or the mediators and the international community is obliged now to oblige Israel to go for implementing the deal.
Yeah.
Israel is
I don't want to talk about what happened in the past. I want to talk about what's going to happen in the future. That agreement has clearly broken down. A new one needs to be brokered. So I ask you again, what is Hamas willing to agree to secure a ceasefire?
Why? It is not. We are not talking about the past. We are talking about a deal has been signed. Why it is broken as as if you are taking it as granted for the Israelis to sabotage the deal. We have signed the deal. We are committed to this deal, and we are ready to fulfill our obligations. Now it is the turn of Israel to implement the deal. Despite of this, we have cooperatively and positively we were contacted by the Americans to try to bridge this gap created by the Israelis, and we have said, okay, we can go for the release of one American captured Israeli soldier who has an American nationality, plus the bodies of other 4 soldiers. But at the same time, we want to be sure that accordingly, we will be engaged in the negotiations of the second phase, which guarantee the total withdrawal of the Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip.
Yeah,
and
Israel has said that that is not acceptable. How many of the hostages are still alive?
I don't think he knows.
I have no clear idea about how many of the captured Israeli soldiers are still alive.
How can you have no idea? How can you have no idea?
Because this is I am living outside now. Temporarily, I am living outside the country, and this information.
If he would have lived inside, he would have been unalived by the Israeli Air Force and the IDF.
Are taken from the people who are.
And the reason I'm saying unalived is so this video doesn't get demonetized.
In the field, because these captured Israelis are in different areas under very strict security conditions with different groups. But I have to remember everyone that it is always asked about how many Israeli soldiers are still alive, but no one is asking about how many thousands of Palestinians, including men and women and children and minors.
I'm asking.
I mean, we don't have to ask because you release false numbers 24/7, and every day that number rises up like crazy without diminishing between combatants, civilians, women, children. You just throw a completely accurate number, 100% accurate number, and you lie to the people.
I'm asking you how many are alive because Hamas is in control of the number of hostages and should know how many of those 59 people are still alive. Why will Hamas not release all the hostages now, which would be the easiest way to stop this?
Yes, we have said that we are ready to release all the captured Israeli soldiers. In return, our thousands Palestinian prisoners, including men and women and children who are living in a very dire conditions, to be released and to announce the end of this war, the total withdrawal of the Israeli forces, and to open.
And the US has said that those demands are clearly impractical and they are not something that the Israelis or the US is willing to agree to in terms of a ceasefire deal. I want to ask you specifically about the treatment of hostages. Hamas has been accused of using hostages as bargaining chips, of treating them very badly. Some of the returned hostages say they were abused, they were starved, they were threatened by armed men. What is the justification for treating people like this?
I think there's no justification for capturing any innocent civilian by any party. But I think we have Palestinians, we have offered the hand for peace and settlement of this conflict for 30 years. What happened during these 30 years? Thousands of Palestinians, women and children and men were captured, kidnapped from their homes by the Israelis, and we have no choice to get our kidnapped Palestinian civilians.
People are not being captured out of the blue. They have to have some sort of affiliation with terrorism. So if they come to stab us, like those two 13 and 14-year-old kids, they were arrested. So now children are in prison, but they came to stab people. And they're not actually children, they're teenagers. But if you come to do something against me, I'm going to arrest you. If you come to drive and you're planning to ram people with your car, you're going to get arrested. It doesn't matter if you're a woman, if you're a man, or if you're a teenager. It doesn't matter. In Israel, they capture people, innocent people, that were in their homes, that didn't do anything. People that wanted your peace, the Palestinian people's peace. Yet you capture them, you abuse them, you torture them, you starve them. It's completely not the same. Release the hostages, Hamas surrender, and we can talk about negotiations.
And that's not what
This is the
October the
only way.
7th was. October the 7th was a terror attack on innocent people, many of whom were killed, were abused, were tortured, and were then taken hostage. That is not what that was.
You consider it as
Many people were disgusted at the scenes of the last hostage release. The caskets of those who had died were displayed on a stage. Behind them was a banner with an anti-Semitic image of Israel's prime minister. There were many other sort of elements to that release that were staged. There were people taking photos. There were people cheering. Why did Hamas do that?
again, you consider it as a terrorist attack. For us, it is a resistance fighting back for 75 years of racist colonial occupation. Thousands and thousands of our people were forcefully displaced. For thousands and thousands were kidnapped. We have denied the basics. Now Israel is committing a war crime by closing the doors so that Palestinians can get their basic needs, which is the fundamental right.
I'm asking you a question about what Hamas chose to do with the last hostage release. You claim to want to end this. You claim to want a ceasefire, and yet Hamas paraded caskets of people who had been taken hostage, children who had been taken hostage, in front of photographs of those murdered hostages. There were, words and pictures there that were anti-Semitic. And I ask you again, why did Hamas do that?
Again, I told you again. It is not about a terrorist attack, as you said. It is
starting to sweat a little bit.
People who are fighting for their freedom and dignity, who are looking for.
Do you think that was? Do you think that gave those killed children dignity? Do you think that's what that was?
Which children? Palestinian children, you mean, or Palestinian women, or?
No, she's talking about Bibas children.
Children.
The children who were in those caskets at the last hostage release, when Hamas decided to parade them and take photos of them with banners and anti-Semitic images, do you think that was giving them dignity?
I think if you read all the reports of the UN and independent bodies, you can clearly see where innocent people are dealt with in an inhuman.
What do you mean reports of the UN? The UN goes according to what Hamas tells them to say. Why do I need to read reports of the UN? You are the spokesperson of Hamas, of the terrorist organization Hamas. You don't know. Of course, he's escaping the question. The reason why they did this is to make the world believe it was the fault of Israel and not the fault of Hamas. Like Israel killed them and not Hamas. That's why. And he will never answer the question genuinely, because the moment he does, he loses.
And racist way, I think you have seen spontaneous photos and pictures of released, captured Israeli soldiers who are shaking hands with their...
I'm not talking about Israeli soldiers. I'm not talking about Israeli soldiers. I'm talking about the innocent people who were killed, and I'm talking about the innocent people who were held hostage. I'm not talking about soldiers. And I'm interested, actually, because you can't defend it. You're not even trying to defend it.
Okay, again, I said it. No one, there's no right or no rationale to capture any innocent civilians from both parties. But again...
No, there is. And you consider the Palestinians that are prisoners innocent, but they're not innocent. They either have affiliation to terrorists or are terrorists themselves, or try to kill innocent Jews, and they were put in prison because of it. So it's not the same. Ya haywan, it's not the same.
We have offered a hand for peace and settlement of this conversation for 30 years. What is the response? More killing of our people, more annexation of our land, more humiliation of our holy places, and we have no choice than to fight back. Therefore, October 7th is a response to 76 years of racist colonial oppression.
That's a lie, and we're going to pause the video right here. The Arabs of the region attacked Jews way before 1948. They attacked Jews in different places around the world. Muslims attacked Jews in the Fez massacre in 1033. about 6,000 Jews died. I can give you a long list of all the terror attacks that happened against Jews all around the Middle East and around the world. And if we want to talk about before the Zionist movement, we can talk about the 1834 Safed looting. About 500 Jews were killed, the women were raped. This has nothing to do with colonial power or racism or land grab or all these things that this guy's lying about. This has to do with religion and a despicable ideology to remove all the Jews from the land, kill them, and of course build an Islamic caliphate. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support me financially, you can do so through the 2 links below: Buy Me Coffee or Patreon. Until next time, see you.